This isn't just Turkey. This is the United States. This is the United Kingdom. This is an extension of the war in Ukraine.
The Syria story began a long, long while ago. Any of you that are interested in this little book will know that on the way to Damascus in Syria, it was Saul's encounter with the risen and present Holy Christ that transformed him forever. It was such a significant story in the advance of Christianity. Without that moment on the road to Damascus, where would Christianity be now? Isn't it extraordinary to hear the place names are living again from biblical times? This book that has so much talk of apocalypse and revelation. Apocalypse meaning, of course, I suppose, in the most literal sense and Greek sense, revelation. In these revelatory and apocalyptic times, as our perspective changes, as we no longer just blithely believe, oh, what's happening in Syria now? Al-Qaeda are good now, are they? Okay, I got it. And what Al-Qaeda, they've just plucky Al-Qaeda have pulled themselves together. Al-Qaeda, they're all right. Old Al-Qaeda, they were like the Golden Girls. You know, they're just a bunch of lovely old ladies trying to make, like, everything's just about branding now. You're just told to believe, this is what reality is now. Al-Qaeda's good. Like, what are we going to be told in like 5 years' time? Like, ISIS, they were nice people. They were just trying their best. Like, what is the new thing we're going to be invited to believe in next week? This is why what happened with WikiLeaks and Julian Assange is so significant. What began there in the hands of a few is now available to the many. We can all now disseminate information almost immediately that completely unravels official narratives. So they had to invent, didn't they, the category of misinformation. Oh no, now we're not just dealing with Julian Assange revealing little caches of information from Clinton emails. No, now what we've got is everyone's Julian Assange. As our man says, in fact, could you pull up the X feed here, Isaac? Look at this latest post from Elon Musk, top of the feed that we're on. You are the media now, for good or for ill. That's the truth of the situation. The media is everyone. That's why you're seeing the media go into spasms of rage. Well, they shouldn't be able to do that. I went to a nice college. They shouldn't be able to do that. Look at my credentials. Well, what did your credentials do for us at the height of the pandemic? Did you report openly and honestly? Did you take to task and take to hand the pharmaceutical industry and their relationships with the deep state? Did you take to task big tech's infiltration by the deep state? Why should we ever trust them again? Will we ever trust them again? This is a time. Don't stop, is what I would say to you. Don't stop at, oh, I get it now. The media are lying to us and you can't trust the government. Keep going. Keep going. What are the real powers? Where's it really, really coming from? Let's get right into it. And let's have a look at how long this has been going on. This is a CIA intelligence officer, Larry C. Johnson, talking about the United States' historic involvement in the war in Syria as we attempt to get a better, deeper understanding of recent events in that country.
This isn't just Turkey. This is the United States. This is the United Kingdom. This is an extension of the war in Ukraine. This is an extension of the attempt to start a coup in Georgia, a new Maidan. This is not narrow. This isn't about Syria. This is about a much broader effort by the United States to hang on to its power, to control and dictate who gets to be in control here. Understand, there are also Ukrainian soldiers in Syria side by side with the HTS fighters. They've been training them. They've helped arm them. How do you think they got there? It's not via. This is the United States and Great Britain helping foment this and carry this out. And it's being coordinated also with Israel. This is the West in its full-blown corruption, in my view.
How are we going to marry together these two ideas? To awaken, to enter the kingdom of heaven, of true consciousness, where your consciousness can reach into deep understanding. You must become as little children. along with Paul, who had his revelation on the road to Damascus, edict that we have to put aside childish things. How do we bring together those two worlds? I suppose it's by recognizing that we no longer live in the reality that we felt we lived in even a decade or so ago, that we have to acknowledge that what we learned from Julian Assange about Afghanistan can likely be applied in not obvious but in general ways to the conflict in Ukraine. What we learned about the war against terror that it was ignited by the invasion of Iraq and the tragedy of 9/11 likely has its manifestations and tendrils observable in news events today. By which I mean, are there really weapons of mass destruction? Is Saddam Hussein really involved in this? Let me know in the comments and chat the kind of questions that come to you when you look at reality, their version of reality, from that perspective. And ask yourself this: can we trust the legacy media? I'd love to see a BBC report on this. In fact, Isaac, if you can pull up what BBC 24 are talking about right now. These new progressive, this is new Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda once were turbans and beards. Now they're lesbians and queers. They're trying their best to take over and bring about a new Syria. Syria will host the Olympics. The Olympics is going to be held in the dead of night, and we're going to have trans people participating. The reality is just the opening ceremony of the Olympics is going to be the 9/11 towers being kicked over by a little trans boy. They're just telling you reality is whatever it is while denying an ulterior, deeper truth. How do we bring together truth and love simultaneously? It's a big challenge, man, to live in truth and love simultaneously. We cannot believe what they invite us to believe. We've seen it play out too many times. Remember the moment where Edward Snowden realizes the depth to which he's being observed and tracked. Remember his horror when he looked around a hotel room. They're listening to you with these devices. They're tracking everything you do. They can at any time just conjure up stories about you, destroy you if you become inconvenient. Let's have a look at how your man Larry there continues to unpack the likely lineage of this latest revelation.